It's so nice to be back, and it's so nice to see auditorium or a conference hall filled with over 1,500 participants. And I just want to firstly and foremostly say thank you for your interest in Papua New Guinea and your participation in this time around. To President Mr. Smara and your team, thank you once again for your leadership. You are strong in ensuring that PNG continues to be put to the world map. It was not too long ago we came out of a similar conference in Hong Kong, and let me say thank you once again for your continued leadership, and you have spoken well, setting the pace for the next few days in which we are in session. Let me acknowledge the people of this land who are traditional custodian of this place, the First Nation, the Yura Nation in this part of Australia where we are converging. I just want to sincerely acknowledge the past, today's people and the children who will come after them. Thank you once again for the continuous welcome to all of us as guests to this important land. I want to also acknowledge the Australian people, government, my good friend Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, who was a wonderful host to my delegation as we visited Canberra last week. And by the way, they've given Papua New Guinea an extraordinary privilege to address the Australian Parliament on the 8th of February next year. I just want to thank the Australian government. I want to thank the Australian government, today's government, as I also thank past governments for continuous help and partnership with Papua New Guinea over many, many years, and all Australian investors who come and invest in Papua New Guinea. Thank you very much for your continuous support to the growth of Papua New Guinea, and we sincerely value each and every effort. Australian government, Australian private sector, and Australian taxpayers and people work and give help to Papua New Guinea. It will be remiss of me not to acknowledge my colleagues in Parliament who are here, ministers of state, governors of our important provinces, and members of Parliament, vice ministers. Thank you very much for coming and joining us. This is a premier get-together. The taxpayers are in the house, in the room, and please reach out to all of them because they pay the tax. That makes you and me work in saving our country. So spend some time reaching out, but for you also, our taxpayers, have a reach to all these leaders of our country. They are the reason why the country is now experiencing growth. Each and every one of them play an important role in their part of our country to ensure we remain a robust democracy. So let me thank all my colleagues in Parliament who are here with us in this important conference. I want to also acknowledge Chief Secretary of State, Ambassador Ivan Pomalio, and all the panel heads who are here today. Thank you for coming in. You are certainly the team behind the stage to ensure we get to stand up in podiums like this. I just want to say thank you to the entire public service machinery who are here. Hopefully in this conference you've learned a thing or two, and as we go back home, we just get to work better in serving our people better. I want to acknowledge our investors, the foundation investors in the economy, and many of you who continue to remain so up till today, as well as those who have an interest to come into PNG, who are shopping in today and sitting in this conference. Thank you very much for your presence in Papua New Guinea or your interest in Papua New Guinea. We're not a bad place, and I will come to why we are a good place a little bit later in my speech. Tracy, how much time do I have, if you don't mind?
As long as you like.
No, you got. Thank you. You got to be standing up there and waving like a speakers do that your time is up. In any case, I just want to appreciate all of you for coming up. And I was here the last time we had this conference, and I spoke on 4 Ps and 1 W. I guess you all want to hear more about these projects. Papua New Guinea has been assisted in a big way by mining companies, oil and gas companies, and I just want to say thank you very much to all of you in this sector of our economy. You have played a very, very big role in where my country is today, and I just want to step back. You don't have to clap, but every citizen Papua New Guineans in the house, why don't you join me in giving a big round of applause to all in the mining sector in our country and the petroleum sector. And in case you do not know, the reason is simple. At 1975, when we became independent, Treasurer knows one of my favorite topics. I'm very conversant with this one. I've dug and looked deeper into the history of my country. At 1975, we were an economy under 5 billion kina. 5 billion kina. I bring you to 2002. In 2002, we were still an economy under 17 billion kina. 17 billion kina. Our population by then had almost tripled from what was under 3 million at 1975 to almost about anywhere between 6 to 9, something we don't get it right in PNG these days in really enumerating what our population is. But in any case, for want of using a number, I say 6 to 9 million. So population is growing, economy is struggling along. From a 5 billion kina economy in 1975 to a 17 billion kina economy in 27 years of nationhood. That growth rate was not enough to sustain our economy. Much of that growth has been anchored in the mining and petroleum growth, the Kudubu projects, the Oktari projects, the Pogra projects, the Lihir coming on board, and some of the explorations, small explorations that were going on. In 2002, now I've already referenced your number, in 2002, 17 billion kina. If you place your mind into 2011 or 2012, the economy is now 44 billion kina. If you run your mind to 2018 or 2019 when I took government, the economy is a 79 billion kina economy. That massive growth, a number that Anthony referenced too early in his speech, that the economy doubled. He mentioned tripled, I would say doubled. The economy doubled all at the back of, and I don't mean to be a little bit biased, but in a big way, by one LNG project, the PNG LNG. I just want to step back right now, thank Mr. Graham and others who were part of the genesis of the PNG LNG project. One substantial investment of $22 billion coming at the back of global financial crisis period in 2008 and 7 and 8 thereabouts. But the confidence that a huge global company in ExxonMobil had in our country coming in around this time grew our economy and doubled the size of our economy from where we were 17 billion 2002, 44 billion 2011-12 when O'Neill and Somare government made transition, and to 79 billion kina in 2018-19 when O'Neill and Marape government made transition. One project, and it is a project that the Chamber of Resource and Energy manages today and supervises and facilitates. It's a project in the resource sector. It is a project in the resource sector. That is just a testament to the value of projects in our country. For leaders who are with me today and public servants and Papua New Guineans, as we also talk to the sector, let us be impressed that the sector is a big employer, the sector is a big contributor to our economy, the sector has contributed to our economy in a substantial manner. And I just want to again step back and thank the petroleum, the mining sector. Thank you very much for your journey with Papua New Guinea over the last 48 years. Without your input and contribution, we would be lagging far behind in as far as our country is concerned. Thank you very much. And so since then, we have remained at work. The last 4 years was not easy. However, our country remains functional. In the last 4 years, we have delivered to our people's expectations and to the best of our ability. We have miles to cover still, but nonetheless, we have held grounds. in as far as our own focus as government is concerned, including trying our absolute best to marry the national interest of our country and marry the interest of investors so that you too can make a return on investments. And I just want to say that it has sometimes caused confusion, but nonetheless, most of you would know by now, we mean well. We mean well. When you are making a return on the investment, the country too is satisfied and happy. Finding the balance between national interest and investor interest is something that we have been trying to strike balance, and PNG has not been bad. In the last 4 years, we've seen good mergers, good fusions, good transitions, good coming in of companies, and hardly anyone has left our real estate so far. And I'm seated in front with Mr. Palmer, who came into Papua New Guinea some months back. He flew in and said, I have an interest in a piece of real estate in your country. I said, by all means, you're very much welcome. And we strike conversation. I said, our national interest is this. I know you have your company interest. And we looked into each other fair and square in the eyes. And some of the things, if not all of the things that we outlaid, Mr. Palmer and Newmont were able to embrace, including having PNG as one of the, in fact, possibly sixth or the seventh. Is it sixth or seventh global region? Sixth. They had 5 global regions. I said, if you want to come into PNG, Lear is a premier asset. Wafigolpu would be a premier asset. Have your own address in PNG and not reporting to Australia. Sorry, my friends in Australia, but I have to say this. At the end of the day, I defend also my national interest. And Mr. Palmer gave his word that that will be so. I also said, allow for PNG shareholders to PNG possible IPO subscribers to also buy into your company. He said, yes, we will look into this. They've made a parcel of over $100 million worth of share to be transacted, and they will be trading on Palm stocks. And so this is no ordinary, Johnny come lately. This is global powerhouse, superpower in the gold business, the premier asset, globally speaking. Newmont came into our country in the midst of the issues over the last 4 years, COVID-19, world rebounding, Russia-Ukraine war, and everything else that is happening, climate change sensitivity. Newmont came into Papua New Guinea. We also saw the supervision of oil sets fading out, and Santos coming in. By the way, Santos got me on the side on Friday, and I became the golf player on Friday, and I'll never forget this one. They asked me to play with them. And so Santos and oil sets fused, and Santos became bigger. And that took place in the last 3 or 4 years. In case you're having easy access to communication back in PNG right now, Telstra, the biggest telco company in Australia, came into the PNG market in the last 4 years. What am I saying here? That is an indication that is trust and confidence in the economy of Papua New Guinea. And those who've been investing in our country still hold ground. They have not conceded ground. Harmony remains so. Thank you, Peter, for joining us. Of course, Barrick and myself, my favorite topic. We had a fair go and contest, all in the interest of finding the middle ground in which they win and we win. Barrick still remains, even though SML1 closed. Barrick has now joined Papua New Guinea into a wonderful partnership, a story that needs to be impressed, that in the partnership we have where we sit on the side of 51% equity and they sit on the side of 49% equity. They still make a return on investments, a fair go. They make money, we make money, all of us happy at the end of the day. And this story has just emerged, something that many misread me in 2019. When I pronounced the Take Back PNG philosophy and mantra, they thought I'm going to chase away all investors. Far from it, our conversation was simple. Let's look at sitting on the table, you win, we win, because the safety and ambience of PNG economy will continue to ensure your work address in PNG is a better place and you are earning more for your shareholders as the country also earns more for our people in the process. The last 4 years as we work with you, and I appreciate your contribution so far, We plowed back. The last 4 years, collective disbursal by the treasurer to our economy was over 101 billion kina. The last 4 years, we spent and spewed 101 billion kina to the economy. When we conclude 2023 financial year, that would be the number. We spent 17 billion in 2019. We spent 19 billion in 2020. We spent 20 billion in 21. We spent 21 billion in 2022. We are spending 24 billion in 2023. If you think I'm lying, look at Treasury's website. You type www.finalbudgetout.treasury.pg and you ask for final budget outcome. There you have the history of PNG's economic performance in as far as government treasury is concerned. If you care to compare governments, look at the past history. The entire 10 years or 15 years, it's there for any one of you. You've been paying tax. You can look at how we've been using the money. You've been supporting our budget. We are transparent as ever, and it is there. In the last 3-4 years, we tried to use a budget to ensure we build enabling infrastructures. Power. We've invested money in power in a big way. My colleague, Minister Duma, will be speaking to you 2 days from today. We're supporting state enterprises. We're allowing for Connect PNG to open up our country. We're also ensuring that health, education, and law and order in a big way is being supported. And I want to step back and thank Australia government for the recent announcement of over 400 million kina worth of support to Papua New Guinea. This will come in the form of supporting police training, supporting anti-corruption, supporting additional judiciary support, including recruiting more judges from Australia and similar judiciaries to work in PNG and to ensure we work in law and order space. Partnering the US, this year we've signed that will partner PNG Defence Force for external security. The Australian bilateral security agreement is to support our domestic security. Most of you work up there. Security is number one expenditure. We want to ensure in the next 5-10 years, we prepare our country to be a country that is secure. So you invest well. You are living in a safe environment, and together all of us grow in the growth that will take place in our country. And so this has been our core focus. Improve our economy, better education, better health, better law and order, and of course, we look at ensuring that the country gets better in the process. And I want to give you our fullest assurance, your government is not resting. We're working very well to ensure that Papua New Guinea is a better place than where we are today as we grow to get better going forward. I just want to put in a point here. If you care to look at how I am doing as a government, you look at my original statement, May 30th, when I became Prime Minister. Later today, I'll be addressing Lowy, and I'll be reminding the Lowy Institute, look at my address in 2019 when I addressed Lowy Institute. And just go through my speeches and tick off what we have achieved and what we have not achieved. You'll be pleasantly surprised. We ticked off some, and we are in the process of maturing on most, if not all, of my commitments. I don't change. Papua New Guinea don't change goalposts. Papua New Guineans honors word. Papua New Guinea is a pasin, as Anthony Sumare has mentioned. You honor us, we honor you. We have a handshake. That handshake stands for life. We don't change on that handshake unless you decide to break the bond. And that has been our story. You ask SML1 holder, Barrick, they came in 1989. They concluded in 2019 a 30-year contract we have with them. You asked earlier Newcrest, today Newmont, signed on the Lihir contract agreement. We don't change. Fiscal stability we give to our investors don't change. It remains static right through the entire period of the contract. That is something we are proud of, and I just want to assure all our investors here, especially the junior investors. And I'm sorry to classify junior investors and senior investors. We have senior investors in Papua New Guinea right now. 4 of the biggest in planet Earth is found in one country. 4 of the biggest in the resource and energy sector, if I could name. ExxonMobil without placing in an order. Sometimes there's a contest going on the order that I switch on. Tara, you don't take it that I rank you number one, but in any case, Exxon and Total, because Exxon came in somewhat downtime, they're here, and I just have to name them first. Exxon and Total, two of the biggest. They alternate between, one is a big gas company, one is a big oil company. Put together, two of the biggest in our country. You look in the mining business, two of the biggest. Newmont is the biggest. My friend, Mr. Bristow, will agree that Barrick is also right up there. They're good partners up there. You got Barrick and Newmont, two of the biggest in the gold business and the mining sector in Papua New Guinea. Where else in the whole world do you have the big four in one country, let alone a developing country? That should be a vote of confidence to all of you. That should be a vote of confidence to all of you who are thinking and trying to say, is it safe? Of course it is safe. Why do you think these big fours hang around? And why do you think Harmony hangs around? They've found a modus operandi to operate in my country. It is safe. They're not charities. They're to make investment for their shareholders. Their continued presence in Papua New Guinea reflects that they've found a niche place of doing business and operating. And one of the greater advantages that we present that many do not have, and I'll go down my list, or possibly four, or if I'm inspired, I'll give you five. First and foremost, we are a robust democracy. We are a robust democracy. In our entire 48 years, we may have our ups and downs during election time around, but every year, the 11 elections that have transacted, Papua New Guinea has not failed to deliver a government through the electoral process and through the democratic process. We are a safe democracy. There are many other investment destinations, globally speaking, who cannot stand up to this proud history of my beloved Papua New Guinea. 48 years on, we have had 7 prime ministers before me, and we've had 11 elections, and in between, some changes of government. All have been done through the due processes of law. Government come, government go, but the country remains. Rule of law prevails. The second advantage Papua New Guinea has is that our judiciary is totally independent. Our judiciary is totally independent. Sometimes they cause a little bit of delay to each and every one of us, as we are experiencing in the WAFI project timeline so far. But please, don't take it too personal. It is not offensive. A robust, functional democracy is not a democracy without a very independent judiciary. And I'm working very, very hard to ensure that judiciary remains stronger, bigger, better. We're giving them more support. We're also assisting the Independent Commission of Corruption set up to ensure they support the judiciary and all integrity offices in our country so that the rule of law prevails in our country far bigger going forward. That is totally necessary in a nation of so much diversity, whether it's diversity of church affiliations, or diversity of tribal affiliations, or diversity of political affiliations. We have so much diversity, but our diversity must be anchored solidly in a robust democracy and a functional judiciary. And we are working very hard, so I just want to give you the second plus we have in Papua New Guinea is a judiciary that is totally independent, away from government and away from politics. They work without fear or favor of anyone, and you can be rest assured. The fiscal stability agreement we sign with any project will run the course of that agreement with no governments into the future tampering on what has been signed upon. That is something my government is proud of, that is something my country is proud of, and something that we will never ever compromise the independence of the judiciary and honoring to the spirit and text of every agreement we negotiated and settled with all project developers. You agree with me? You agree with me? If you are trying to come into my country, all you have to do is ask Barrick. You ask the outgoing Newcrest in how they operated here. I must disclose, I'm a great sounder of the fact that the Lihir projects hardly pay any corporate tax. and they remind me they pay personal income tax. But as Prime Minister, I'm bound by the agreement my predecessor set. And this is something we value. It's our word, it is our bond. We honor our word and our bond. And I think this is something that is second to none. You can't find it in many nations. You can't find it without naming other regions of the world you investors operate. You know how other regions operate. You know how other regimes operate. Papua New Guinea is a fair democracy. We agree upon something, we live and to honor what we agreed upon, including predecessors who've signed agreements. And this is the second biggest strength we have in Papua New Guinea. The third biggest strength we have is my people, our people. Many judge us with cover over the lenses, so to speak. You look deep in my people, intrinsically in the DNA of all my landowners and all my people of my country, they're very good people. They're very good people. You find a place to honor them, they will return honor to you in leaps and bounds. They will return honor to you in leaps and bounds. That is why my conversation has been, let's look into downstream processing. Let's look into upping the local content so that you're not farming out the investment dollar you bring into PNG to a contractor elsewhere, but you are really allowing for more of the dollar to percolate into kina and residual kina in my economy. And I just want to say the third advantage we have, though diverse we may be, we speak one common language as Melanesian Christians deep in the core of our DNA. It's a heart of forgiveness. It's a heart of tolerance. It's a heart of welcoming everyone that comes in with good pasin. And if you strike a fair pasin to us, we'll repay that pasin to you in leaps and bounds and in many, many folds. And I just want to say the third plus of my country is the pasin of my people. The fourth plus we have is our environment in totality. Our environment in totality. Unbeknown to many of you, when you choose to invest in Papua New Guinea, that the climate change and conversation would be contemporary 21st century conversation. Today, climate change, and if you go to the bankers, they would ask you, are you working in a green economy? What is your carbon footprint? And the consciousness on climate change has got bigger, better, and rightfully so. But the good news Papua New Guinea offers to every investor who invests in my country is that we're not carbon neutral, but we are a carbon negative country. And I repeat, we're not a carbon neutral, but we're a carbon negative country. And so Papua New Guinea will not slow down in attracting investments in the hydrocarbon space. I know, Mr. Smart and your team, you've rebranded to energy sector, that's fair go. But I'm old school. I still say to those who talk about climate change and talk about the fossil fuel and talk about the hydrocarbon industry, you shut down your coal industry first before you come and lecture me on climate change in my country. We will still be a gas-producing nation. We will still be an oil-producing nation. And to the two majors with me, here in Total and ExxonMobil, bring your carbon footprint offset into my green economy. I have 462,840 square kilometers of land. Of that, 70% is forested. That's a green economy. If I throw in the blue economy side of things, my entire 5 million square kilometers of territory is half in the blue, not half, rather 70% in the blue economy sector. My marine ecosystem, including the mangroves, and my terrestrial ecosystem, including my tropical rainforest, has adequate cover to give you coverage in your carbon footprint. When you operate in Papua New Guinea, you're operating in a carbon negative country. Right now, together, those of you operating your companies in my country, and my people and government, our carbon footprint is under 10 million metric tons of CO2 or carbon footprint. Our absorption capacity is over 100 million metric tons. And so we are by far miles carbon negative. We still have room for improvement. We will tidy this space. Some of you have seen me coming back from France. I still remain a big protest. I don't attend COP meetings because I feel this is a forum where they just speak and they don't do anything. My conversation has been, if you speak, put your money in forestry conservation. Put your money in forestry conservation. And so we will go big in that space. We will have a green label for all of you who operate in my country. You work in PNG, you're a green company. Your product in PNG, you're a green product. We will tidy this space. So as you work out there, you go out to the world, you tell your story. I'm working with the government in forest management, forest conservation, mangrove replanting, afforestation, reforestation. I have a green label. Papua New Guinea is a green country. Don't worry about me here, ExxonMobil here, Total here, Santos here, everything else, we are safe. And this is the advantage, competitive advantage we bring that other nations do not bring to you. Or most nations do not bring to you. Is that okay? Have you heard this before? Have you heard this before or you haven't heard this before? I'm indicating to you, you're in the right place. Fear not. And to all the lenders here, if the lenders globally are not lending, ANZ, Westpac, BSP, the lenders of Pacific must pull together your capital to lend to projects in the Pacific. Australia is working with me. My forest can be shared with Australia for carbon footprint offset. We're sufficient up there. So let us not fear and maybe shut down the coal first and then we talk about shutting down the oil. Oil remains and gas remains the transitional energy. No one is moving in a big way shutting down coal. We will still be harvesting gas in PNG. And guess what? Exxon's got a fifth W or second W coming into the picture as we speak. Is that correct, Tara? I've named about 4 P's and 1 W. Today I am going to partially introduce a second W. And there are many W's in the horizon. The 4 P's, Pogra, Papua LNG, Pinyang and Pasca, and Wafi Golpu, I spoke of in the last time I was addressing this session. Papua LNG, I will leave to Total to announce, but FID is there in the horizon. And I just want to thank Total for your leadership and continuous leadership. Carry on working with Governor Havaita, carry on working with Minister Kua. Let's conclude what needs to be concluded as we await the FID announcements. It is there in the horizon. I will not have I do not know the intricacies of company and how they work, but I have been assured that FID is in the horizon 2024. Anytime in 2024, they would be making announcements on Papua FID. That's the second P. Did I say on Pogra already the first P in Pogra? Pogra, SML granted, MDC granted. The advantage of working with government also, government has ability to ensure without breaking the due process, we expedite on some matters. We've already preserved the landowner compensation agreement preserved in law, and Pogra is just one step away from refiring. I just want to step back and say thank you to Mr. Bristow and his team from Barrick. They've heed our cry. We worked through this, and Pogra is now almost ready for opening. I know many of you said I've said this many, many times, and it has not happened. You're entitled to doubt me. That is within your total right. But in as far as what I know every step of the way, and Governor Ipadas, the mining sector, MD Jerry Gary, and everybody has been with me every step of the way. And we are a nation of order and rule and requirements. We've ticked everything we need to tick off, and it's now just the technical aspects, and Pogra is ready to be open anytime. Tresra, good news. Barrick will release a statement sometimes this week on the status of Pogra being fired up. So that's Pogra, my second P. Pasca, still running around in circle, the lowest hanging fruit. If Twinja and MRDC and DP and S&T sit in a room, it is there for conclusion. Pasca is there in the circles. And Pinyang. Pinyang project is something special to me, one of the projects that has my signature on it. Pinyang project, we're delivering about 60%. Total value chain benefit back to PNG economy is being carved out at 60%. Pinyang will be synchronized with how Papua is being developed. Pinyang, and right now for the next 10 years. If you're with me for the next 10 years, we come back. This day, 10 years from today, we would have retired FID Papua, go into construction, first guest Papua, migrate construction to Pinyang, do Pinyang, and then come back. We would have had, if ExxonMobil is to announce that we bring the new W into the picture, then that will be something else. So next 10 years, I got oil and gas lined up, and we have mining projects lined up. Wafi Golpu, almost there. We've signed MOU already. That is the template in which we will migrate our SML requirements and MDC requirements, and Wafi Golpu is there to be concluded ASAP. There's a court case that has come into the picture, and that has slowed down us a little bit. The 4 Ps and 1 W is being progressed as I speak. ExxonMobil will tell you they're possibly finding the next W, and possibly another W as we speak. In conclusion, Papua New Guinea remains an attractive place. Don't fear about the climate change conversation. We are a carbon negative country. Continue on investing in our country. We will work with each and every one of you. And as you work, I want you, in conclusion, please don't leave behind my landowners. Pick them up and take them with you. When they're happy, the provincial governments are happy, then me and national government will be happy, and collectively all of us will be happy. PNG remains a good place for investment. We have our competitive advantages that many countries do not have. Lastly but not the least, our access to market is second to none. I relate very well with all markets in Asia, North Asia, West Asia, Southeast Asia, and to the West. That marketplace is there for all investors to produce and sell offshore. God bless each and every one of you. I look forward to your participation. Wish you all a pleasant participation, contribution, learning, and hopefully as you come out of this, you've exchanged your card with someone new, and you find doing business in PNG an option for you and your company. Thank you very much. God bless each and every one.